all shocked that the DA of Santa Fe is pursuing charges against Alec Baldwin. The district attorney of Santa Fe has announced that they will be charging Alec Baldwin and Hannah Gutierrez Reed with 2 counts of involuntary manslaughter. Now, to be clear, they have not yet been charged. I know a lot of news outlets have been stating that they have been charged, but they will be charging Baldwin and Gutierrez Reed before the end of the month. Now, these 2 counts, which are in the alternative, meaning if they get convicted of both counts, only one will be used for sentencing. Each of these charges includes a maximum prison time of 18 months plus a fine of $5,000. Now, New Mexico has a firearm enhancement which could increase that prison sentence for an additional amount of time. I have seen some news outlets say that it's a mandatory 5 years, but I haven't been able to find the exact statute that speaks to that, so I don't want to say the wrong information. So it's just basically will be enhanced. The amount of time is unknown. The district attorney has stated that had 3 people done their jobs, Halyna Hutchins would not be dead today. And those 3 people include Alec Baldwin, Hannah Gutierrez Reed, and David Halls. Now, what has been buried in most of the headlines is the fact that David Halls, the assistant director who handed Alec Baldwin the gun and stated that it was a cold gun, has taken a plea deal. He has pled guilty to negligent use of a deadly weapon. I know a lot of people are asking, well, this was an accident. How can Alec Baldwin as an actor be held accountable or held responsible for a gun that had a live bullet in it that was not part of his job duties, right? As actors have to rely on the prop master or the weapon specialist to make sure that the weapons do not have real bullets in it. And there's some truth to that. However, the district attorney stated that when you have a weapon, it is your duty to check to make sure that there are no live bullets in it. But mostly the position is that he pointed the gun at Halyna Hutchins and pulled the trigger. Now, she emphatically confirmed that the trigger was pulled.
Are you confident that he actually pulled the trigger?
Yes, absolutely. The FBI lab is one of the best in the world, and we absolutely believe that the trigger had to have been pulled in order for that gun to go off. The trigger was pulled.
Based on extensive testing by the FBI Quantico labs, it was confirmed that the trigger definitely went off. Now, if you go back and you look at videos of Alec Baldwin rehearsing that scene earlier in the day, you see him pull the gun out from his jacket, and you know where his hand is? It's on the trigger. It really, like there's no refuting that. I think he's caught in a lie here because he's pulling it out and his hand is on the trigger. Now, he could have a defense that it's not his job to check for the bullets, but the fact that he pointed the gun at Halyna and then pulled the trigger, that's where his negligence comes in. Under criminal negligence required for involuntary manslaughter by lawful act, states that a killing by lawful act to be involuntary manslaughter depends on whether the lawful act was done in an unlawful manner or without due caution and circumspection. The phrase without due caution and circumspection has been held to involve the concept of criminal negligence, which concept includes conduct which is reckless, wanton, or willful. However, when there is a conviction of involuntary manslaughter by negligent use of a weapon, this simply requires negligence which is ordinary. So it's a lower level of negligence when a weapon is involved, which I believe will be the case here, which will really hurt Baldwin. So Alec Baldwin released a statement today via his attorney, as well as Hannah Gutierrez Reed. Baldwin's attorney, Luke Nickus, states that these charges are a terrible miscarriage of justice. He goes on to state that the actor had no reason to believe there was a live bullet in the gun or anywhere on the movie set. He relied on the professionals with whom he worked who assured him the gun did not have live rounds. We will fight these charges and we will win. Gutierrez Reed's attorney, Jason Bowles, states that the charges were the result of a very flawed investigation and an inaccurate understanding of the full facts. We intend to bring the full truth to light and believe Hannah will be exonerated of wrongdoing by a jury. It's unclear whether or not Baldwin and Gutierrez Reed will have to appear in person. The DA stated that defendants can participate remotely in many initial court proceedings or seek to have their first appearance waived. What was really interesting was the fact that on the day of the shooting, no monitors were set up, so there are no recordings of the actual accident. There were no monitors set up because, according to investigation, that day the IATSE crew had walked off based on their complaints of safety about the production. And so the village monitors were not set up. However, I've been on set recently in the last 6 months, and monitors nowadays are very small. I'll show you a photo of it. And you have wireless or audio packs that are just headphones in a little square that you can walk around wirelessly. So if the producers are on set that day watching the rehearsal, they would have been able to see what happened. Now, whether or not those monitors recorded, I'm actually very curious now if there were no recordings of the shooting, because maybe the director wasn't shooting because he was standing behind Halyna because he also got shot by the bullet that killed Halyna. So I'm interested to see what's the evidence during trial. Now, as you might remember, last year in the civil proceeding, Halyna's husband came to a settlement with at least Alec Baldwin, and I'm sure he received a large undisclosed amount in that settlement. But part of the settlement was that the production of the film would continue this year. In the beginning of this year was what we had been told, and her husband would receive an executive producer credit and be involved with the project as an EP to finish up the production, I guess, in Halyna's memory. I always thought it was kind of weird. I don't know that the production is going to go forward now with all these pending charges and everyone suing each other. Remember, there are several civil lawsuits going on. There's the script supervisor who is suing. There is the cross complaint, remember, from Alec Baldwin suing several crew members for their negligence. Here's a statement from Hutchins Family after they heard about the potential charges. It states, in a statement issued by their attorney, relatives thanked authorities for seeking the charges. It is a comfort to the family that in New Mexico, no one is above the law, they said. This is kind of surprising because we all assume because of the civil settlement that Hutchins family were perhaps satisfied, but we had assumed that the settlement and her husband joining the production as an EP was a way to signal that perhaps they didn't hold Baldwin responsible, but this statement seems to indicate otherwise. Also, SAG released a statement after they heard about the potential charges, and SAG goes on to state that guns are provided to actors by expert professionals who are directly responsible for safety. The prosecutor's contention that an actor has a duty to ensure the functional and mechanical operation of a firearm on a production set is wrong and uninformed. An actor's job is not to be a firearms or weapons expert, the union said in a statement. And perhaps, they might be right. I mean, we are all shocked that the DA of Santa Fe is pursuing charges against Alec Baldwin. Charges against actors or productions have rarely been filed. Remember, a district attorney in North Carolina cited negligence as a factor for Brian Lee's death in 1993 during the filming of The Crow. So we're all shocked. We were not expecting a charge against Alec Baldwin, but it seems like the charges have been at least drafted up. Some of the news outlets have been given a copy of the charges because they seemed to indicate that they have read it. It's interesting that it hasn't been charged, and the DA came out today and gave a press release about it, but I think it took time because they were probably negotiating David Hall's plea settlement and trying to get all the information from him, because now they have an insider, right? They probably are privy to information that Hall's had that they didn't have from their investigation by the police. And so Hall's probably gave the district attorney's office information they needed to charge both Baldwin and Gutierrez Reed. I believe more news will be coming out on a day-to-day basis, so I will keep you guys updated as they happen. I believe, this will be moving fast, unlike the Brian Kohlberger case, where they waived a right to a speedy trial. I believe Baldwin will want a speedy trial. And as a Hollywood attorney, I am curious how this will change the landscape of filming in Hollywood. As an attorney who has worked at studios like Disney and Skydance, this would have never happened on a fully funded, high-budget film. If it was a studio film, this would have never happened, right? But this was an independent film that was lower budget, and it was just not a well-run production. There were numerous safety complaints, and the production has been fined over $100,000 by the New Mexico Safety Department. So this was a tragedy on so many levels. It was an accident that could have been prevented, and my heart goes out to Halyna's family, her husband and child. Make sure to catch my last video dealing with another famous Hollywood production, the 1968 Romeo and Juliet, whereby lead actors were underage and basically performed against their will child porn. And now now they are suing Paramount Pictures for $500 million. Make sure to catch it here. This is Tyler, the Hollywood attorney. I'll see you guys soon. Bye.